Now, what you guys need to do is read Solo Leveling. Um, there's this manga called That Girl from Random Chatting, which kind of at first seems like just this weird high school thing that like doesn't really matter, but it's actually really good. Um, there was a Deadpool manga I read not too long ago that was really good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Herbal Synergies, the shop. I'm your host, Sinji, and with me, as always, my co host, my amigo, my trolley friend, Herbe.
What up?
What's up, Herbe? How you doing?
Same old, freezing out here, snowing. I ain't built for the snow, but
Is it
that's
snowing
how
over
it
there?
be. Yep, snowing sideways,
Damn.
like boys in the day.
Damn.
It's a Paul Wall reference, just in case you ain't know.
I didn't. Still don't know.
Dang. Oh, that's okay. That's before your time. I ain't mad at you.
It be like that.
Mm-mm-mm.
You got a flavor this week, sir?
I do. I figure I show my show. I picked some love since it's gonna be done here. Just the whole basketball scene was hilarious to me. Um, Basically, the out they planned today with Yuto and they devised teams, and it's Igarashi and Natsumi and Yuto on one team, and it's my boy Takeda and Kazuma on one team. So just the antics and the funny situation of it. We'll get more into that later. But yeah, that was pretty funny to me. Had a good old chuckle.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What about you, Saya?
I might give it to One Piece this week.
One Piece,
Had a moment
Two
where
Piece.
Luffy is fighting Kaido, and it seems like the match is about to reach its climax, and then CP0 shows up and fucks up
Not
sabotages
CP
Luffy.
Zero. Dang. That's stronger than CP9, right?
Yeah, CP0 is like the hidden organization.
Mm,
Yeah.
CP0. Dang.
So yeah, that's where I give it to. What you want to kick it off with, my good sir?
Dude, we can you wanna kick it off with some jujutsu?
We can do a little jujutsu. It's fresh in my mind.
Not much there, but a little bit.
It's just like always, setting up the next chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, they do talk a little bit about the guys. He has like high outputs and releases curse energy with like near instant explosiveness. So kind of like similar to UG, but not too much. Yeah, he just talked about he kept being unsatisfied about things and had some other stuff. So yeah, and then the lady launched a counterattack and hit the guy's own technique, and you're like, oh, that I guess that really does hurt. So then Yuto calls out Rika, and that's about it.
He's like, my attack packs quite a wallop.
Yeah, not much there. It's getting exciting, although they may be on a hiatus because of the author's health. It's not too good.
Yeah, well, apparently the One Piece anime is going to be on hiatus because they got hacked.
Got hacked. See, they couldn't wait to see if Luffy became Pirate King or not.
Well, the anime is nowhere near it. Well, actually, it's kind of near. It's weird though. Yeah, I guess the manga and the show are in the same arc. But the
It's,
the manga episodes are still coming out tomorrow, so I'm guessing it's just the show that got hacked.
yeah, I don't know. Didn't read it. Wasn't in my news feed, so I couldn't tell you. But yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, so that's that. I guess we can move into Senpai and do some TOG.
My senpai is annoying.
Yeah, so episode 10, uh, Autumn or Ordinary Days. So basically, starts off with Sakurai weighing herself, and she's like, "Oh, I'm unhappy," and she decides to start going with her brother Yuto, and she's pretty sore for under Yuto, and Tsukishiro, she starts feeling on Sakurai's stomach, and she's like, "Oh, you're so soft and squishy," and da da da, and she ends up pushing her into Kazuma. And this part was funny too because she brushes up against him, and he's like, she's
My
like,
man,
help.
my man saw the galaxy rise,
Yeah, and he starts just touching where she touched him. So that's pretty funny.
and she's like, "Kasuma-kun."
Yeah,
Yeah, that's another thing I've seen in a reel. Like I pretty much watched Kazuma and Sakurai's whole relationship on Instagram.
yeah. They should do a sideshow with them. Although I'm not, cause their dynamics are weird though. Because he's not. I don't feel like he's much of a talker, and she's kind of just happy just being there. So I'm not too sure how that would go. But it's not bad. So then the Itamaki shop is holding this eating contest, and the loser, like two people walk in, and the loser foots the bill, and Tsukahiro shows up, but Takeda doesn't notices it's her, and he's like, "Oh, this lady's here," and whatever. So he does what he does. He eats some, and she's like, "Oh, this is too spicy," and she gives up. And then so we skip to Kazuma. He goes and he's walking. He sees Yuto, and he starts giving Yuto basketball pointers because he's like, "Oh, I want to get better," and this that. And he's like, "Well, I used to play some," and does that. So he starts telling him how to shoot, and Yuto somehow shoots the ball backwards. It hits him in the face. So I was
Yeah,
like,
the
"Oh,
wind up. It was the wind up. It's like, oh, my coach told me that. Yeah, it's like this, and then it goes backwards. I'm like, what the?
yeah." I can see if that was like a trick shot, but I was like, I don't know. That's just crazy, craziness. So so then that happened, and we flash back to the office, and Takeda and Igarashi see Tsukahiro. And he's like, "Oh, you're the lady from the eating contest." It's like, man, you didn't know y'all work together. Come on. It's like, "Oh, it was nice running into you the other day," and they start talking. And Igarashi is getting jealous. Then we skip to Kazuma and Yuto. Well, she gets this pain in her chest, and she's like, "Why I have this pain in my chest?" So she continues. The Yuto's lessons continue. They all meet up at the park. They all play, and this is my flavor right here. So they start off, and Futaba Igarashi hits Yuto in the nose with the pass, and Natsumi scores. And then my man Yuto gets the ball and he blows the layup. I'm like, bro, you all you do is throw it off the backboard.
He tried to dunk, bro.
It's like I want to be like them. I want to score, and he just blows the layup. It's like, dang.
It
And
was
then so
great.
yeah, I at least would have got to the backboard. He ran into a metal pole. I was like, how you do that? Call it dope boy magic. Um, there's another song you wouldn't know about. So then Igarashi and uh, Takeda go one on one, and she's like, "Hey, you're too big. Why don't you stoop down?" And she's like, "Haha, you fell into my trap." And she goes to shoot it, and he stands up, and the ball hits him in the face, and then it bounces off him and hits her in the face. And I was like, "Dang, that's unfortunate but hilarious." And so then Kazuma put some skills on Natsumi, and she's like, "Oh, you were going to ease on me?" He's like, "No, I was just being careful."
That was the first reel I've seen and remember seeing of Igarashi and Takeda, the double basketball hit.
Yeah, I missed that one, but I do remember they were playing and he took the ball from her and dunked. So I was like, that was pretty hilarious. So so Kazuma's guarding Natsumi and he steals the ball and she's like, oh, I can't get the ball back. She's like, I gotta use my last resort. So then she presses up on him and she gets the ball back and Sakurai blows a whistle, which was
Yo,
hilarious.
she blows the fuck out of that whistle.
She's like, guys, this is supposed to be for Yuto, not you, so y'all can show off and this, that, and the other. And I was like, yeah, my girl, she was not having it. So throws a fit, and then it pretty much ends. She's like, I just wanted to spend time with you, Kazuma. And then everyone ends up going to the bathhouse, and not and Futaba's knocked out, so Takeda carries her to the bathhouse, and then she finally wakes up, and she's like, oh, is this a mixed bathhouse? And they're like, nah, it's not. So chill out. so so then they're talking in the bathhouse, and Natsumi's like, oh, you haven't changed a bit, uh, Igarashi. So she gets kind of mad. She's like, I'm a woman, da da da, like she always does. And this scene was also funny because Yuto's like, how do I get as big as you, Takeda? And he's like, oh, you got to drink lots of milk, diet, and rest, and do this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, my man. And then he stands up and tells him, and Yuto's like, oh, my goodness. So that was also funny. And so Yuto sees Igarashi, and he's like, oh, you need to drink some milk so you can get taller. She was like, I drink it every day. And just the sheer look that she gave him, I was like, ooh.
And he's like, "Oh, well, you also have to eat better and sleep a lot." And then Natsumi is just like, "She has a hefty appetite." No, 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 no. Takeda is like, "She has a hefty appetite," and then Natsumi is just like, "And she gets plenty of rest."
Yeah. So the look was pretty funny. And eventually we get to Takeda saying she's fine just the way she is. I was like, oh, look at you, my guy. You stay saying the right stuff, but are oblivious to the woman that likes you. So, so then the seasons come and go. It's the end of the year party, and they celebrate. And Sakurai's getting hit on by some people, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna spend New Year's with my brother." And everyone else tells her plans, and then eventually she goes over to Kazuma. It's like, "Hey, you want to celebrate New Year's with me and my brother?" And he's like, "Sure." So Takeda tells Igarashi she should go visit Grandpa, and then we skip to Sakurai and Yuto, and Yuto says, "Oh, I was actually invited to another party, so it's just you and Kazuma." So then Kazuma shows up, and Sakurai burnt all the dinner she was cooking, so I have to eat out. And then Grandpa calls
I don't know how it
Igarashi.
burnt that quick.
Yeah, I don't either, but it's TV. You gotta do some stuff like that for TV. So Grandpa calls Igarashi and shows him a fist, and his friends say, "Oh, this is a famous Igarashi," and asks if they could be her grandpa. Which I'm like, "Oh, it's some creepy old man." And then we switch, and Natsumi and Futaba are eating, and Futaba's thinking about Takeda, and Natsumi's ribbing her about, "Oh, you don't have anyone on your mind, and this, that, and the other," and because she kind of knows. So then they go visit the shrine and they see Takeda and I go, hey, Takeda. And then Natsumi's like, oh, shoot, I forgot to do something. And she just runs off and she leaves them and they go to the shrine. And Igarashi's like, oh, I just want you to be prosperous and make my boobs bigger and proportionate to my body still. And I was like, dang. that girl. She's something else. So then they draw fortunes, and they both drew Hana Kichi, and the message was the person you are waiting for is standing next to you, and they both get embarrassed, which was hilarious. So then they go to get ramen, and on TV news they see Kazuma and Sakurai, and she's like, "Oh, we saw coworkers here, but we didn't want to bother them." And he's like, "They're like, oh, were they close?" The reporter's like, "Yeah, I got a picture of them." And so she shows a picture. I was like, "Dang!" And so Futaba was like, "Oh, I gotta get." She's like, "Stay here. I'll be back. I gotta go do something." And she ends up running and beats up Kazuma at the shrine, which was also hilarious. So that happens, and uh, Kazuma wakes up on Sakurai's lap, and she talked to him like, "Why did you agree to hang out with me for New Year's?" Because he's like, it was funner than gaming alone. I was like, "My boy."
He also
So
said because he didn't. A bunch of guys were asking her, and he didn't want them to
yeah,
hang out with her, and was wondering why she chose to hang out with a nobody like him.
yeah. But he was like, it made me feel special, and so
I
so
don't.
that
I don't.
happened.
I don't think he said that.
He did. I read it.
Nah, I don't think he said that.
He did because he was like, because you had all those people and you chose to invite me over.
Yeah, but I don't think he said because it made me feel special. He just said like, "Hey, I don't know why
Hmm.
you wanted to hang out with a nobody like me, but I figured hanging out with you would be more fun than alone."
I'm pretty sure he said maybe feel special, but
I
we'll
just watched it this
digress.
morning, Irby.
Well, I don't believe you. So let's just keep it moving. So then, so some little girl runs up and is like, "Oh, do you have feelings for that girl?" And this, that, and the other. And she's like, "Oh, you must have." Because she's like, "Look at this picture." She takes a picture. And this is when Sakurai runs back and she's like, "Oh, did you see this?" And he's like, "No." And so she deletes the picture because it's a picture of her kissing him while he's knocked out. So that happens. And this is the final episode. My senpai is annoying, the final episode. So Igarashi preps a report and the boss says good work. And Takeda tosses her hair and she says good work. And she gives a whole spiel about how little she is, but she is a grown woman and you shouldn't toss her hair. And then she was like, she'll make him count on her one day. And he's like, "Oh, already does." And the boss raised about Takeda and his hard work and how he got a huge contract. And she runs into Suka Zero in the bathroom and she's all smiling. And she's like, "Oh, are you smiling?" He's like, "Oh, yeah. Takeda got a big contract and this, that, and the other." And then they talk and she concludes it's based to affection for why she's smiling like that. And my man Takeda runs into another problem and he can't do the presentation. And she's like, "Oh, I'll deliver for you." So she does a good job. Yeah. And she returns to the office and she looked for Takeda to return. He does, but all the little floozies show up and they're like, "Oh, hey, you did so well. We heard so much about you." And they want to throw a party for my boy. And she gets a pain in her chest because they're fawning over him. And she calls Natsumi, no answer, because she's on the jaw with Yuto. And she's like, "I'm in the mood to go drinking." And then there's flashbacks to when she was a new hire and she recounts her first days, how she talked with Sakurai. And she goes to gets a drink and she runs into Kata and he's like, "Oh, what drink you looking for?" And this, that, and the other. And so he gives her a drink and she's like, "Oh, are you here on a field trip?" Because she is so tiny, which is hilarious. So so then they try to talk and she gets called into the office to meet her mentor and she gives him kind of a death look. So so then she flashes back to the present at the bar, and some guy's talking to her. Oh, you shouldn't be here, you little girl, and this, that, and the other. And he tries to touch her, and my man Takada shows up. I was like, "Oh, okay, I see you, dog." His senses was strong. It's like, "You didn't stay at the party." He's like, "I showed up, talked a little bit, and then left." Because he's like, "I would rather drink with you." And then they sit and reflect on their pastimes, and then they walk to the train station. And
That they did.
yeah, and she tells him she'll be a full-fledged salesperson soon, so don't expect her to be by his side. And he replies, "I don't know who will be with you down the road, but I'll be by your side protecting you until then." And I was like, "Oh, that's such a cute moment. Very cute, touching." I feel like they left a lot unsaid. So I don't know if they might get a season two. They might get one. They might not.
I don't. I don't think they get in season two.
You don't know. You never know.
All season two will cover is the same holidays, the same plot, the same everything. There's no season two.
You don't know. They could get married and go on and do some other stuff. You
It
never
might
know.
be. It might be like a one episode thing, but they're not gonna make a whole season.
Shoot, they probably could make a whole nother 10 episodes if they wanted. You
It'd
never
be.
know.
It'd be the same thing. Work holiday.
Mm,
Work holiday. Work holiday.
just like One Piece. But that ends it.
Completely opposite.
That ends that. I enjoyed the season. Had some good laugh, some good stuff. Wouldn't be sad to see if they had season two, but hey. Now let's get into something else. Changing pace here, switching it up, a little more action and violence for, the audience. Excuse me while I wet my whistle.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
wet your whistle.
this one was kind of sad. I almost thought my boy wasn't gonna be here anymore. But anyhow, so Tower of God, season 2, episodes 278 to 284. So Kun really doesn't want to meet the head of the Kun family elder.
Nope.
And Han Sung wants to split into two teams. One team's to look for Ida Han and their companions, and the other team to face the big breeder. And Rack wonders why he's not on Team A because he's a leader. And Han Sung's like, "Oh, you could be on Team A." And my man Rack dabs. So I was like, "Oh, look at Rack." So Kun's still questioning if they should meet the Kun family meter or when they'll meet. And Hang Sun says he doesn't care about outside people, but Bama Company is different. They're a different story. And somehow Hang Sun made a sad promise. I don't know what that is yet. So they could talk. Chang cut the power supplies, so he pulled Rachel out. And Chung was originally a data human living in that world, and he can't leave where he is currently, and no one can get to him. And he's the lowest rank of the big breeder. There's two other big breeders. Then Rachel, high IQ play right here. She deduces that Chung kept her there because he saw that she was able to come to that place and wants to use her to escape. And Bam's group reaches the cold stage, and Candy Lady and Sleepy Lady, Snorlax, are there, and they're trying to get into the place. And then there's another big breeder, Geok. He's there talking to him. And Geok gives them a hint on how to defeat the quest. Bam and company arrives at Sleepyhead and Candy. Bam wants to go face the big breeder, but Hang Sung says it would be better if they delay the quest and finish their own without being discovered. Hang Sung tries to pass the Dorsey to Kun, and Kun's like, "I don't want to work with her." And Hang Sung's like, "Well, I don't think I'll get along with the Dorsey either." And Dorsey just kicks both. It's just like, "Get on my level." And then Rat calls her a big-eyed turtle, and she's like, "Shut up, Rat, before I turn you into a bag." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And Rat was like, "She's terrifying." That was almost another flavor. It's like, look at you,
The
just
comedy
like Louis.
moments for Irby.
Yeah, I like comedy. I like to laugh. I need laughs in my life. So, and Dorsey and Bam go to finish the quest while Kun and Hang Sung try to come up with a plan. Bam and Dorsey summon the quest. Sachi's team is reaching their destination. Uh, was it Baptist goes to the pot on top of the cone-like structure and delivers a message. Tells him that he found someone to make his wish come true. And a member of the Idahan party shows up and asks, is he that person? Tells him Bam is elsewhere, and they said that he says choose the hardest quest and he'll beat it for him real quick. And Khan and Hang Sun stall, and they teleport the final boss that Candy Lady and Sleepyhead were fighting. And it's like, we gotta get out of here. And then the big breeder goes to them and shows them up. And Bam attacks the beast that they had summoned in for their quest, and Snake Charmer offers to help. I was like, oh, okay. This man's kind of weird. And so Rack is going to get involved when Icarus shows up, and uh, Con Marco Asenio. Uh, he only likes 3 people in his party. That's the Kun family. And so, flashback to Bam's group. The Snake Charmer defeats the Armadillo. Candy and Sleepy figure out it was Khan who stole the lighthouse villain. And Rack asks Icarus who she is and who is she to help them. She says she's going to give Rack a spear power up.
Hey.
And Rack's inner thought bubble is cute. It's like, oh, Rack, you're so amazing. Yeah, we're not anything without you, Mr. Rack. And Big Breeder says that he's seen Hansung before, but Hansung fled to live. So and then Kun acts like Hansung harassed him, and Big Breeder's like, oh, I've heard enough of this, and he just attacks. They flee. Bam and Dorsey arrive. Candy figures out that Big Breeder has deceived them. Big Breeder says they are breaking rules, and he has to enforce the law. And he launches an attack, but my man Brack does work with his spear. Rachel tells them that she is the Big Breeder's sworn enemy. She makes up some lie on the spot. She's like, "Oh, well, everyone here has big, big, big sworn enemies, so even big breeders." I was like, "Oh, okay, plausible.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad lie.
It's plausible. I mean, you got to maintain the power balance,
Yeah.
so yeah." And Khan still finds Icarus suspicious. Khan allows, let's see, he allows it so they can keep tabs on Icarus because, like, I don't know who she is, but she might be trouble. And he wing, or I don't know, he wing or something. I don't know. The other big breeder comes to talk to Geok. They say that there are no ordinary people, and they want to annihilate them at once. And my man Kun felt a chill because there was someone off in the distance that was like, "Oh, Agera, I want to kill him," and it had vanished once they left to their place. They teleported out of there, and Mashini is there. I was like, "Oh, okay." And we find that Idahan had left because he got impatient and he wants to meet the son of V. And Bam group defeats a villain and advances. Kun gets the shiver again, and an observer appears. Says, "Long time no see, brother." And she has missing. And I was like, "Oh no." So Kun wants to go alone and tells them to go go finish the quest. And Isaiah is the name of Kun's sister. And so Kun shows up alone. against Bam's wishes. He did not want his companions to find them. Well, she was like, "Oh, why do you want to show up by yourself? You don't want your companions to find how despicable you are, and that his sister died because of him." I was like, "Ooh, okay." Fighting ensues. She received a growler that neutralizes Khan's lighthouse, and she stabs my boy. I was sad. I was ready to stop reading right here. I was like, I can't do it. Not today, Satan.
Damn.
So, so she's happy she stabbed him, and wonder why the outside her hasn't stabbed him and killed him already. And my boy Rack comes walking through and he sees a mural of a figure-like person like himself. And Rachel, they're searching for exit. Rachel uses her big breeder abilities to find the exit in the labyrinth that they were walking in. And Khan used the lighthouse to teleport missing away. And he's like, I teleported her far away so that you couldn't get to her still. So he tricked her into thinking so that she wouldn't activate the growler she has, and he teleports away too. And then they get the call about the location, and Kun teleports to them. So and they reconnoiter and meet up and go to the next stage. And Kun is bleeding badly, and Rachel's like, "I might be able to heal him." And Hung Sung notices that the marble Icarus has is the big breeders, and she's like, "Oh." He's like, "Oh, and that's different." So he's still suspicious. And she healed him. And Kasey is mad that he escaped. And Joke shows up and says, "Don't worry, you'll see him again." And he's there with the other sworn enemies. And Sachi meets with the Idahan. He's the best with a spear melee abilities. And Hockney says there's a faint holiness about him. He recounts the creation of the hidden floor, and he didn't want to go, so he just remained there on the hidden floor. He noticed Jihad was different than before after receiving the mirror. Something entirely different had returned. They are reviewing tapes of the hidden floor to find Bam, and Jihad's data wants to find Bam. Idahan stayed behind because you noticed that Jihad was different, and all the data humans that crossed over were actually deleted. So all that were left were big breeders. Hung Sung is questioning events like why can Icarus heal Khan but can't wake up missing? And the group is staring at Khan. He feels some stare and he says, if you got something to say it. And Dorsey's like, she's like, why is your sworn enemy have a woman's voice? And asks, is it an girlfriend? And so I was like, oh, is she jealous for Khan? And I was like, oh, she just being nosy. And so
Yeah, you know damn well there was no way she was jealous.
she could. You never know.
Nah, and Dorsey's all about Bam.
She might be. She might not be.
What? Like, you know this by now, you troll.
I don't know. What if it changes?
Oh
Feelings
my god,
change.
but it hasn't changed.
You never know.
Ugh.
It could change. Hasn't changed yet. Never said
Headaches. You
never,
give
my
me
guy.
headaches.
Take some Tylenol. So, so then, let's see. And he's like, "What do I have to say?" And George's like, "Oh, say it's gathering data on an enemy that we may encounter later." And he says Kaseya is his younger cousin, mom's sister's daughter. His older sister was going to be a princess, and she was pretty emotional. She had an emotionally cold personality, kind of like you, Senji. His mother wanted him to be a
Wow.
strategist. Wanted him to be a strategist to help his sister become the princess. And one day, her great foe appeared, Maria, and she approached Khan for his sister's weakness. And he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna say why I helped her, but I have my reasons." Which I'm like, "You don't have to explain, homeboy, because you just dimed out your someone you're supposed to be working with. So I don't know. That's kind of ominous. I need to know something. So, but that's me. Um, so
Yeah, that's
then,
you.
yeah, I need to know something. So apparently, he gets his sister disqualified, and Maria becomes a princess, and his sister killed herself. So I was like, huh, mm, couldn't handle it. So then we get into Dorsey's backstory. She was taken, I guess both of the parents had died, and she was orphaned, and she was taken in by a couple. And the snake charmer found her one day, and she's like, she's talented, and he was like, oh, you deserve better than this. So he gave her a gem, and then she took the gem back to her house, and the gem, he was in there, and he killed her parents. And then she then went to a wealthy family that was trying to raise a princess, and she says that she's glad he killed them because it kept her from being ordinary. But everyone's like, oh, that's a lie. Because one, he's your sworn enemy that showed up, and two, you don't even seem happy. So so then they arrive at their destination, and Icarus wants to speak to Bam, and they go off searching, and Bam encounters Jihad while searching, and Rat gets an unsettling feeling, and Jihad has a third third eye on his forehead or something. So yeah, I was like, oh man, it's getting good.
Yeah, the classic third eye.
Yeah. Levitate me, baby, open my third eye. That's another song too.
Oh my,
Mhm.
yeah.
Musical Saturdays, baby. Get used to it.
That was it. That was your last chapter.
Yep.
Oh
I
wow.
like to I like to stop when it gets good. Kind of prolong my stuff. Now, I mean,
All right. Well, re zero. I'm saddened that this is the last episode of season 2 because it seems so sudden.
mm,
But whatever. Let's get into it. Offbeat steps under the moonlight. Subaru and Betty are fighting the Great Rabbit. The rabbits get they started. Betty teaches Subaru how to do some crystal spear move, and like the rabbits start getting destroyed. But of course, like Echidna said, or the lady, the witch who created them all, unless you destroy them all at once, they'll just keep multiplying. So
yep,
Subaru and Betty come up with an idea. Subaru uses the magic Betty taught him and creates like a square arena that they're all trapped in. And then he shouts at Amelia, it's like, trace the line if you can do it. If not, then we'll figure out another way. And Amelia puts an ice wall around the whole thing and lifts it up. I didn't know she was gonna lift it up, but she lifts it up. Unless Betty did that. And then Betty sends them all individually to another space, kind of like the Forbidden Library, but different. And then they win. And um, Roswell reveals to Betty in a kid's grave that he is the original Roswell, which is like going back and forth. It's like, are you? Are you? So he's been the original Roswell all along. And I think what's been happening is, to my understanding, he's been having kids and then putting his soul in the kids. Because his body, the soul needs a body with the right level of affinity or something like that. So from there, um, Betty tells Roswell to kneel down and then slaps the shit out of him with her shoe. And he's like, he assumed that it was for one thing, but she was like, nah, that's for burning down the library. And then you zoom out to Amelia, who's trying to talk to Subaru about what happened, and she's like, I want you to know it's going to be complicated, but it's only right that we take care of this kid. And Subaru's like, what? And he was like, yeah, that's what happens when two people kiss. A boy and a girl kiss. You have a kid. And then Subaru's just like, I hate you, Puck, because I guess Puck told her when a boy and a girl kiss, you get pregnant. And they move on to a party where Subaru is being knighted by Amelia, and they have a party, they celebrate. Subaru and Amelia basically tell each other how much they like each other and need each other outside on the balcony. And Amelia's like, I want to talk to you later on, just the two of us, in my room. And Subaru might have ideas what's going down, but Amelia is so innocent. I don't think she has a clue of what Subaru's thinking. And that's just how they go back into the party and they're dancing. And once they finish dancing, the show ends. And I'm just like, damn, wish I had more. Irby? Irby? It appears, guys, I lost my co host. I don't know where he is, but he has vanished into thin air. And I don't know how long he expected me to talk about this one episode. Because it's just one episode. But I am done. So now, with that being said, ReZero might be in my top 5 list. And I think for my boy, I might replace ReZero next week with. I couldn't get into it before, but I'll do it. I'll muscle through it. I think I'm gonna replace ReZero with Overlord. I don't know what Irby's replacing my senpai is annoying with. Probably another slice of life, which I'd watch. And it'd be unfortunate, but I'd watch because slice of lifes. A lot of them tend to follow the same pattern. It's like we have a setting in which we constantly hang out, and we're gonna show how we interact during Christmas, New Year's, Easter, Golden Week, blah blah blah, a rainy day, a beach day, and finally we're either gonna end up together or it's gonna. I don't know. Slice of lives are all the same. Not saying that my senpai's annoying wasn't enjoyable. I mean, it had its funny moments, but like, am I gonna be like, hey, you need to watch this? Nope, not at all. Now, what you guys need to do is read Solo Leveling. Um, there's this manga called That Girl from Random Chatting, which kind of at first seems like just this weird high school thing that like doesn't really matter, but it's actually really good. Um, there was a Deadpool manga I read not too long ago that was really good. Let me see. Still currently watching Weakest Hero with the Strongest Crest, and it's still good. I think a new episode came out that I need to watch. That's good. Bleach is coming back out, so yo guys, Bleach is fucking lit. The manga goes fucking crazy. If you haven't watched Bleach yet, watch Bleach and try to catch up because shit's about to go down. I'm not fond of the ending of the manga, but hey, you know. Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer's got about 2 to 3 arcs left, max. And that's if they don't handle one of the arcs through a movie. Because the train was an arc. The train's canon, the train's arc. It was in movie form, but that was one of the arcs. So, let me see. I'm thinking about reading that, or watching that Trials of a King. Is that what it's called? Trials of a King? I gotta,
Oh no.
about to check it right now.
I'll say yeah.
Oh, my co-host came back.
Yeah, I messaged you, but I guess you ain't seen it. But anyhow, so I was saying that Did you notice how that Betty had made said something about that her and Subaru or someone Subaru made a contract or something, but he was a novice, so I guess the terms were like vaguely oblique or whatever.
Nah, I think what it means is because their contract's so new, they don't really have any combat experience together.
Mm, I'm not sure. I don't know. But yeah, that's only one other thing I had to take away. Yeah,
Um,
and Amelia's thing was funny too. So, but
Ranking of
yeah,
Kings is what I was talking about before Irby came back. So Ranking of Kings, I might watch that, guys. But I already publicly noted Irby that for our boy, I'm gonna replace
heard you.
ReZero with Overlord.
I heard you, dog.
Oh, okay, all right. Which
Yeah,
is on Funimation. I mean, Crunchyroll.
yeah, and it probably got like 4 seasons, so it's gonna take up a huge chunk.
No, because season 3 was just confirmed, I think, or
Nah,
was it season 4 that was confirmed,
huge seasons, bunch of seasons.
or did season 3 just come out?
Mm-hmm. I don't know too much of anything.
Oh wow, I got 4 episodes in. I'm gonna have to start it
Mm,
over.
just 4 episodes.
13 season 1, another 13 for season 2. That's a generic looking king in the first episode of season 2. And
Yeah,
13 season 3. Okay, so I think season 4 is coming out.
yeah.
All right, yeah, that's get ready to watch that, Irby.
Mm,
Add it to the watch list, and that's taken care of. Anything you want to go out on, sir?
nah, I got nothing to go out on. Just I would recommend giving Slice of Life some looks at. They're funny. They're nice. Nice change of pace. You ain't gonna be
I already
serious
ranted
all the
about Slice
time.
of Life to them.
I heard you.
Mm.
I just ain't reply. But yeah, so I would do that.
Same story,
Yeah,
different people, different setting.
maybe. But they're enjoyable.
That's what Uramichi was like. Same story, different setting, different people.
I enjoyed Uramichi thoroughly, and I
There was
can't
a
wait for
Christmas
season
episode,
two.
there was a New Year's episode, there was a beach episode. I think there was a Golden Weeks episode. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Uramichi was a little more entertaining because dark humor.
Yeah, I find them all entertaining. But that's me.
But yeah,
Let me pick up one, please. But
thanks for
yeah, all right.
listening,
That's
guys.
yeah. Like,
Sorry about the short episode. Wasn't really counting on ReZero only being 1 episode this week, but hey, next week
deal with
Overlord
that.
and
Yeah,
whatever Irby replaces my senpai's annoying with.
yeah. I'll find some goodie to watch. Mm,
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
mm, we'll let the viewers judge.
All right, peace.
Peace.